this week, President-elect Donald Trump offered retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn the job of National Security Advisor. He's controversial because of his anti-Islamic positions, but not so controversial as his son, who was also an advisor to the Trump transition team and a world-class fake news advocate. When a man brought an assault rifle to a D.C. pizza parlor last Sunday, it didn't take long to figure out what was going on.
D.C. police say this North Carolina man was inspired by a lie spread online.
The armed man believed that the pizzeria called Comet Ping Pong was a front for a pedophilia ring run by Hillary Clinton and Democratic operatives.
The Pizzagate lie began circulating shortly before the election.
Meanwhile, Michael Flynn Jr., a Trump advisor, was back to his campaign tricks, tweeting, "Until Pizzagate proven false, it'll remain a story." Over at CNN, Chief Washington correspondent Jake Tapper had had enough, tweeting back, "Michael, the police called Pizzagate a fictitious conspiracy theory tonight. Does someone have to die before you take this seriously?" He went on, "Listen to me. You were going to get someone killed, maybe an innocent child. For what?" And when Tapper demanded evidence the place was a pedophilia parlor, Flynn shot back, "Want evidence? I must have really hit a nerve." Which in the end is really what this is all about, getting your goat. That's exactly right, and certainly my theory that these people want to mix it up with the mainstream press. They want to make them angry. I thought it was interesting when I was putting this piece together, going back and looking at some of the coverage from Sunday, how the news media portrayed it, even that one package I used, Clipped Up, that young reporter, that woman, must have used the term, "It's a lie, it didn't happen," like 10 times in the space of one, because you want to make it clear it wasn't true, it was false, it was a rumor. But, you know, this is kind of, I don't blame Jake Tapper, although you're never going to win a war with somebody like that.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that he would engage, because you're getting into that proverbial match with a fire hydrant there. But I thought the only reason why the father, why General Flynn, is able to go forward on this is because he's up for a national security advisor, and you don't need Senate confirmation. Otherwise, I think this would have killed the appointment. That whole idea that the person who is going to gather information on the most important topics that a president should hear, and he believes in conspiracy theories so much that he sends them out there, is truly frightening. It's a national security concern, I have to know. That's absolutely, and it should be here. So they've excised at least the boil here by sending the son off, but I don't think that solves the problem of Dad also believing in this stuff.
Well, you've got to remember that Donald Trump also is quite, is quite adept at spreading conspiracy theories. I mean, he did that throughout the campaign, and the media continually freaked out and pointed out, after a while started pointing out lies, and to enough voters it really didn't matter. So I'm not as sure as you are that there even would have been consequences, that this really would
happen anyway.
No, it's true. I mean, in terms of Jake Tapper, too, all I'll say is that, I think originally he actually sent those as direct messages.
He did,
but there's no way you could think that wouldn't get out there, considering who you're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, I would say that Jake Tapper worded those messages in a way that he had nothing to be embarrassed about should they become public. So I'd say good for him. I think the emphasis is in the wrong place here, because as Tom said, the father, who is going to be the national security advisor, has been sending out tweets just as nutty as his son. A week before the election, the father put out a tweet linking Hillary Clinton to a child sex ring based on a fake news site. General Barry McCaffrey, who originally supported Mike Flynn for National Security Advisor, has backed off and said, I'm looking at these tweets and there's really something wrong here.
Well, I think a couple of reasons that why Jake Tapper responded. It could be, in general, that he's responding to someone getting his goat, but I really think because there were potentially children involved, and a guy really believed it enough to go there with a gun, that, his direct message to Michael was, come on.
No, but I'm talking about Michael. Michael was trying to get his goat.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying that but Jake's response is what I'm saying, is that I don't think his goat was gotten as much as he had a great amount of concern about, hey, this is what we're talking about when we say that people take this stuff seriously. So I'm going to go to the source and say to you, what about a kid could have been killed?
Mm-hmm.
Are you understanding that this is not a simple matter of just saying, well, maybe let's see the evidence, that it's really more than that? So that's what I felt that he was trying to say. To your point about whether or not it would, ever come to light, I don't think he sent that direct message without thinking that it possibly could, because it was too provocative and he knew who he was
By the
dealing
way,
with.
there was a prison interview with the perpetrator. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was kind of sad, actually. He says, "Well, I really felt compelled to go see for myself, because no one had done that."
Well, and that's the larger problem,
Yes.
is that there's been such an erosion of faith in the mainstream media by,
Yes, exactly.
that people are disinclined to
didn't
believe the
believe-
fact checking,
yeah.
and they're inclined to believe the
Exactly.
fake news
Wanted to
because they
see-
think
He was
that
going to
that's
let
all
everybody
fake.
know what was happening in
Yeah.
the back
Right.
room there.
And bring an assault rifle with him.
Yeah,
at the
well,
same time.
why not? Just in case there was somebody to
Tell
shoot.
ya. That's right.